still tons of time to save 2 on bosses. Or to lose, because I think my PB might have a first try Radahn. Which, actually, speaking of Radahn, that's another route change I was considering, is doing Radahn before doing Godric. Or, yeah, Godric's his name. And the advantage to that would be, like, I could skip 1 cycle of leveling, hit a couple fewer Sites of Grace. Oh, let's actually grab the 8. I think I used it for XP. I also think mouse sensitivity feels weird. But everything's set correctly, so I don't know. Anyways, if I did Radahn first, assuming I could first try Radahn, which would basically just mean having to no-hit him, it would be quicker. Alright, we have to get through here without dying, because we do not grab that Site of Grace anymore. I already made 1 mistake to get through here without dying. So hopefully I don't mess it up further. If you hit the wall, these guys will aggro, and you have a better shot of getting through without being poisoned. Which is kind of nice. However, I did get a small power-up, because now that I'm doing this with full screen, HDR is a lot better, and I can actually see in these rooms, so they're not pitch black. So, at least in theory, I can see where I'm going here to grab this rune and dodge the rat. Because this whole area was pitch black to me, which really sucked. I guess we're down 2 minutes, not 1. That's still okay, though. So yeah, now we run for Cragblade. I did find a slightly quicker route to Cragblade here, but every time I've tried doing it, I've died at least twice. And it doesn't really save that much time. Basically what it saves is about 15 seconds. By jumping down onto the tombstones at this tree, rather than at the troll. But every single time I've done it, I've missed the tombstones at least once. And you don't really get much room to correct on them, because if you miss it and you jump to the tombstone, you still die, for whatever dumb reason. Basically, this is the time save right here, is grabbing that golden rune 5. Because then I can just run forward and grab it, rather than having to backtrack. Okay, not aggro. I was worried for a second that the bird was on me. It's really hard to tell because your stamina starts or stops going down. Tell that you're not aggro right before the bird hits you, if you are aggro. This is a pretty bad run. I stopped on a lot of these drops. Fine though. We'll just call it a derust. But yeah, I was timing it, getting Flame Grant Me Strength, that run. There are some advantages to it if I go that route. Even if I were to not use Flame Grant Me Strength. Oh, phew, that almost went bad. But it does add, like I said, I think it's about 1 extra minute to the run, maybe a minute and a half. But what you pick up are 3 items. The first item you can pick up is the Scarab to give you Sacred Blade. So if you want to kill some Deathrite birds, which I'm kind of interested in doing eventually. If I could ever get to the point where I could do Red Feather Branch. The next thing it gives you is the +5 Strength Talisman. So you can avoid running to Radahn Source Seal, which is nice, but it does come at the expense that you don't get that Golden Ring 12. And then the third thing is, of course, Flame Grant Strength, which is optional. If you get Flame Grant Strength, it takes about an extra minute. So really, you're trading off like those 30 seconds for the other two things. And I don't really know that I want to do that or not. But yeah, Gold Stormhill Shack. It's nice. I don't know if I've streamed since I changed my Sum of Best, or the Sum of Best times to get rid of like one that was weird, which is why everything was either red or gold before. Now it is possible for me to actually have greens on most of the run. I thought it was weird that everything was red on PBs. So I went through and found the error from moving routes around. No, El Rey, I'm not. I'm just doing my regular one. I did not like using Flame Grant Me Strength, in all honesty. The big problem I found with it was I was losing like a few % damage just to be able to cast it. And then the buff itself didn't last very long, and I couldn't really like easily or reliably rebuff it mid-fight. So unless my bosses are a lot smoother, it doesn't really feel worth it to me. Because what ends up happening is I lose the buff halfway through the fight, and I only get like half the benefit at that point. But because I'm losing so much extra damage, just by being able to cast it in the first place, and I'm losing the damage through, basically through having higher weight on my items, so I'm losing some on Blue Dance or Charm. Then I'm also losing some because I have to have enough faith, so I end up moving some stat points around. Because of that, like I end up doing the same damage throughout the run with it or without it, I was finding. So, at least given that for now, it doesn't really seem worth having to add like all these extra inputs and potential points of failure just for like the same end result, or a very similar end result. If I got like really smooth bosses, I do think it would be worth it, but I'm not really at that point yet. Because it is more damage than my other options, just not by a lot. But yeah, that Flame Grant Me Strength run, like I said, I went through it. I didn't actually finish the run. I got up through, Malakath with it. And that's kind of where the run was saved, because I was wanting to just fight Malakath with it over and over, since that route means no summon. And I just wanted to have, like, a file at Malakath with no, it's not, like, set up to be using a summon. What I might consider doing, though, and this might also change the route a little bit. Yeah, no bird on that route. So what I could do instead is down patching is something that's allowed. What down patching does is it lets you like you're allowed to play basically on an older version of the game. There's a couple versions that aren't allowed. I think it's anything prior to 1.05, and then specifically it's like 1.12 or 1.12.a or something isn't allowed. And other than that, you're allowed to use any version of the game. So if you ever go like look at people's speedrun routes, hold on, let me get the bear loot and then I'll talk. I was a little slow on that. I got hit for once. Anyways, most people will either play on 1.07 or 1.10 for a couple of reasons. Never get out of there without being hit. Sorry, I'm blanking on if I have to buy smithing stones from that guy. I don't think I do. Anyways, 1.07 has much higher poise damage. When they did that patch, they just kind of increased it across the board for stance damage the weapons dealt. So if you're on that version, you can posture break things really easily. And mostly it's specifically that version. Because on 1.08, they moved a lot of those like stance damage things back a little bit. And then on 1.10, they increased damage a lot across the board. So people tend to use one of those two versions. I do not want to quit out. I still don't have any runes on me, so I don't actually save anything with a quit out. Oh, jeez. Well, we're just going to die instead. I apparently did not set my inventory correctly. Misclicked something somewhere. That's fun. Same effect though. Let's fix that right now though. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, 1.1 had a huge damage buff across the board, so a lot of people will use that. Or they'll use 1.07 for stance damage. Although you still get a couple of nice stance damage things on 1.1. Most notably, Glint Blade Phalanx was not nerfed until 1.11 or 1.12. Which is a really good spell. Puts like some Glint Blades on you, and it's good for 40 stance damage, which is huge. But then after the nerf, it's now only good for 20, which is not so huge. And it's a pretty key part for a lot of runs on specific fights, like Malakath. Because, for example, let's say I put Glint Blade on my fist instead of Crag Blade. 2 charged heavies on them are good for 60 stance, and then the Glint Blade would hit them for another 20, which is your posture break. And then, like in phase 2, you can do the same thing where you cast it as he's preparing to swing at you. And then you just get the 2 hits and he falls. So basically it accomplishes the whole thing that causes me to have to use the bird. And you would think that would be okay on this version because my 2 heavies are 60 and Glint Blade is still 20, so that'd be 80 instead of 100. But he usually gets just a tiny bit of stance regeneration between the hits. So you can't do exactly 80. You have to do like 85 or 90. and it's just below what I can hit with it. So I did try. So basically what ends up happening is the time to get to him uses just enough of the regen timer. I feel like he gets a couple frames of regeneration. Sell 2,200 worth here. Okay, why do I not have... I hate saying this. This might be a bad run. Oh, never mind. Here we go. I was on the wrong menu. Oh, it's still a bad run for the time, but okay. I was worried for a second that I was on the seamless co-op version of the game. I got confused by the menus. Also, I did find that going north here to this little gazebo thing is actually slower. If you run east to the other area, same sort of place you get the 5 Faith Talisman, it's actually like 5 seconds faster to use that teleporter to the academy than this one. I'm just running this one out of habit. But I should like make a new habit and change that. It's just not playing for a few days and not really wanting to make a bunch of route changes at once. Plus 33.5 seconds there. Wonder what I did so... Well, actually, I know what I did so horribly. Everything from having to get hit and die to getting stuck on squirrels to freaking out on the vendor. That all adds up. But yeah, on my Flame Grant Me Strength run, it was actually cursed. I ended up having to do it multiple times because I died on, what's his name up here? On Blackguard. Also, I think the last run I did on stream, the run right before it, so like a warm-up run, I also died on him. So I might just be on like the bad side of variance for this. There's this, actually, after I do this guy, I'll tell a story about how you manipulate the math to be in your favor when it's just like RNG based.
You don't mess.
Okay, so next. A couple years ago, I was playing this game called BattleTech, and it's like a turn-based strategy game similar to XCOM. One of the achievements in that game requires playing an almost perfect run of the game, start to finish in the campaign. And what I mean by perfect is doing every single mission, every mission, every optional mission, like getting absolutely perfect routing throughout the entire thing. And I do mean absolutely perfect. Like, you cannot misclick once, planning how you're doing things. Not some corner either. And it's a pretty tough game. You have almost no room for error. And the thing is, like, this is not a short game. The campaign for this is about 500 hours long. And to do it, like, absolutely flawless, you actually need even more than that sometimes. Like, you have situations where you can't even have a character get killed. And there are certain RNG-based things that cause characters to just die. BattleTech, all right. It's a turn-based strategy battle tech. And sometimes characters will die because things like their mechs just get headshot. I am lost and missed my sight of grace. This is going well. But I guess that's what just remembering how to play the game does. Anyways, when you're going through it, you really need to not get bad luck, especially when you're like 400 hours into the campaign, right? So, since anything random-based should sort of just work out to your average, what you'll end up doing is finding spots where you have like a mech or a pilot who are completely disposable, and decide that you're just going to do everything possible to put them in a spot where bad luck can hit them and they die. That way, your good luck, like, you're going to hit that average, right? So, did I just go to the wrong teleport spot? I did. Cool. So that way, like, your average luck, you're going to get all the good luck in the spots you need it by forcing all the bad luck elsewhere. And math does not actually work that way, but it's a good way to tell yourself that it does, so you can pretend that bad things aren't going to happen and just ruin your game. Because I ended up trying twice to get a perfect game. I did it once over, oh man, it must have been 2 months to get through it. And another part of this achievement is you're not allowed, like, you actually can't save scum. It's if you're familiar with how Paradox does things in their Iron Man mode, their Iron Man mode is the only way you can get achievements, and you cannot use any mods on the game whatsoever. Well, cosmetic mods only are allowed, but nothing else. They approve them like case-by-case basis for which ones they'll say your Iron Man legal. So you can't do that. You also cannot make multiple save files. You get one save file, and everything that you do overwrites the previous one. Technically, you can save scum if you grab the save file and go back, but they have ways to sort of detect that a lot of the times too. So you just get like the one save file, and that's it. So there's no save scumming. If you make a mistake, you just have to live with it, basically. And I got to the very end of the game, like the absolute very end. It's the campaign is measured in like in-game days of 1,200 days, and I was on day like 1,198 or something. And I misunderstood how one mechanic worked, and lost my game when the day ticked over 1199. And because of that, yeah, it ended, and I did not get my achievement for getting a perfect game. So, what did I do? I took 3 or 4 months off the game, and then I tried again, and I got it. And that is still my save file for that game. I am not doing another, never doing another perfect attempt. Like, that's it. I have casually played the game since, but I am never going to make another attempt at a perfect. I think I left this in because I was going to get rid of Ritual Sword Talisman from the run, but I think my route is still requiring it. I can't actually tab out and look at my splits right now to see. Oh, wait, actually... Well, no, I didn't put the Sight of Grace on it. I would have only put the item, so... Yeah, I'm assuming I still am picking up Sword Talisman. I am going to remove it. I don't really think I get a whole lot out of it, because I'm usually not full health. Unless I'm doing the boss, like, hitless. Which would be the goal, but I am not consistent enough at them. On a lot of them. So I was trying to cut across on these. I think it's right there, or is it this one? That's this one. This is like very slightly faster than going up the last one. Since you don't have to do any backtracking. It's just, at least I have more trouble noticing where that spot is. I'm gonna try something different here. I do still want the golden seeds just because I'm bad. But I'm wondering if I can pick them up after this. Then, like, when tree sentinels follow me, I don't really have to worry about them. And I don't have to do, like, hopefully not as weird of, like, backtracking to grab them when I summon Torrent. I don't know if this is better or not, but I want to try it and see how I like it. But yeah, what I did wrong in the swamp when I was going to the academy key was... No, also I can use a kukri on this, in theory, to make the wall disappear quicker and save all of half a second. Anyways, what ended up happening is I didn't go through the spot where I normally do. Really? There we go. So I was like mixed up on where I was. But you want to pick those up on Torrent because you don't get this like weird pause when you pick things up when you're on him. And you do get it if you're on foot. Yeah, I don't know if throwing the kukri is worth it though, honestly. Like, it might be. But then I have to have in my inventory and get things set up, and I don't know. Might be worth it, might not. So this kind of gives an idea of if I didn't do any setup to get specific items, just getting runes, like what the floor is for my setup time. Right now it'd be 3304, according to my PB. So you fix like some of the running and stuff and clean that up, and it's probably about 30 minutes, which the runs that I've seen with Iron Balls that beat the game in like an hour 12 and hour 15 and stuff, they're doing it in about that same amount of time. Theirs is slightly quicker because I do quit outs on things like opening doors, and also quit outs on all the sites of grace and all that other nonsense. Or not quit outs on them, but the teleport trick. And I don't really want to do those things, and it probably only adds up to like 1 minute across the run. So, whatever. But that kind of tells me what the items I'm grabbing are costing me, and right now it's about 12 minutes. So I need to figure out which ones I do and don't want. Because that's where the real time saves are, basically. Alright. Not practiced this for a bit, so let's see if I can do it. With my bad setup. Okay, looks like I got it. You have that, so now all I need to do is not mess up the attacks. Which he's in a weird spot. If I sequence that different, if I go on Torrent first and then eat the Fellfoot, it is much tighter timing, but does save some time. Alternatively, I could start eating the Fellfoot when he's around the corner. I just don't really have a way to fix things. Oh, no, it won't save him right there. It's the worry was if he was going to jump.
To determine if you... It seems torrent, whereas there is, but I can take gathering.
So basically, what ends up happening is he'll jump away if you like you do something that aggroes him. But if he just turns around naturally to start resetting, then he will not jump when he sees you. So I was worried because we went into that at an angle that he would reset a little weird. And if I learned the parry strat for him, I could get the time down. It takes me about 30 seconds to kill with that strat, and I think the parry one is 15 if you do it correctly. Alright. Ash first because it makes these upgrades cheaper. Actually, by cheaper enough that I get an extra level.